wish I could say it's a sad film or something that's got me crying, but it's literally just a coughing fit. So,
Oh, wow.
yes, hello everybody. Welcome along to the crossover with Martin and David. David, how are you?
I'm good, mate. Yes, things we upturning, certainly domestic Rangers anyway, and hilarity across the city, which just seems to be getting madder by the second. So all in all, yeah, not too bad, I've got to say, and a week till Christmas as well. So joys of the season to watch.
I'm a little bit of a bah humbug when it comes to Christmas.
No, I'm not. I'm the opposite. I enjoy the feel and the mood of Christmas. The day itself can be a bit stressful with all the running about, but I think that I just enjoy, the everybody's a bit happier come Christmas. Even the Grinches are happy in a Grinchy way, but especially maybe it's because everybody that I know that a lot of the podders they're very cheery at the moment because they've all put their out of offices on. So there is that. That is a satisfying feeling. The actual day itself, as I'm sure it is for most people, we take turns about as to whose family we go to for Christmas dinner this year. It's my wife's family, so that means going and seeing my family in the morning, then up there for dinner, then back down at night. So there's a fair bit of running about, but. And we've got two Christmas games. I do always enjoy a Christmas game at Ibrox, and we didn't have one last year. Yeah. So we've got two this year. I must admit that surely the super duper random computer could give every team one home and one away over the week of Christmas.
You would like to think, wouldn't you?
Whereas it does seem to be that you either get two at home or two away. And I always enjoy it. It's not Boxing Day though this year because it's Boxing Day's a Friday, so they've just thought, screw it, we'll just play on the Saturday. So get a wee bit of peace and quiet to recover. But yeah, I mean, Scottish football, which is mental at the best of times, has been particularly mental this week. We have just been quietly, getting on with it a bit, really. But things over there have been. I mean, this latest tonight is just mental. So yeah, as a Rangers fan, it's nice to see stuff like that happening and us just being able to go, okay, yeah, on to the next game.
Do you know why I'm a little bit hesitant to get excited about the perceived downfall from the other side of the city? Is simply because, not because I'm worried that they're going to get it right in January and spend a lot of money and run away with the league or anything. I don't have that full trust yet, David, the Rangers.
No,
take advantage of it,
Yeah, but 100%. Look, I mean, anything that happens over there, anything that happens with Celtic, I take an interest in only in how it relates to us.
Yeah.
That's all I care about. And as funny as their meltdown is, if we can't take care of our own business, and it is a meltdown, by the way. I mean, an unprecedented one. Staff being assaulted and chairman forced out and leaving with a statement that, puts the boot into their own fans, all that stuff. It is unprecedented. But if Rangers can't win matches, then who cares? You know what I mean?
It means nothing.
Everything comes back to that. Everything starts and ends with us being capable of winning football matches. That's why one of the things people have been saying, sending in emails and stuff to me, and they're saying, do you think we're in a title race? And I'm like, well, yeah, we are. Obviously we are. The question isn't, are we in a title race? The question is, will we win the title? And at the moment, it's certainly not with the squad we currently possess. No, I think that's fair to say, because it's not good enough and nothing has changed with regards to that. But over the next month, you would hope we could add in some quality players and see where we are. But right now for Rangers, it's game to game, and it's win. The manager said the same, didn't he, the other night? Right now it's about winning. We want performances to get better, but right now I'll take victories, and that's where we are at the moment. So I'm not looking any further ahead than Sunday, to be honest with you.
No, absolutely not. How impressed have you been so far with Danny Rule? He's come in for a little bit of criticism in terms of some of the substitutions that he's made in certain games, or maybe certain players that he's relied a wee bit too heavily on. I don't know, Asgard, for example, putting that out there. But what have you made of him overall? What's that? 5 wins? 6 wins, out of 8.
6 wins, 2 draws.
2 draws, hasn't lost a game yet, David. Taking Europe out of the equation, obviously.
Well, I mean, last Thursday, a gentleman on Twitter called me a C-word who was too scared to criticise Danny Rule, even though he was useless and inept. So that probably tells you my position. I don't think a manager can be particularly blamed at this point due to the mess that he walked in, even if he had done poorly, which he hasn't. The team has been very poor in Europe because it's not good enough to compete in Europe.
Yeah,
against better sides, against technical sides, it isn't. The team has been performing averagely because it's an average squad, and I don't think people take into account things like confidence levels of players, anxiety levels even of players when a manager comes through the door. They just assume that, right, the old guy's gone, the new guy's in, everything picks up. To take 20 points from the opening 8 matches is, I think, above par.
Yeah.
Given the mess of that squad, given it had 8 points from 8 games before then the difference is pretty stark. But they haven't all suddenly became good players. Some of the criticism, the substitute, like the other night, for example, some's fair and some isn't. And an example of that would be somebody said, I don't get why he took off Barron and Moore. I said, well, Moore I do get. He's just back from injury. So it was protecting him. Barron I didn't get myself. I didn't understand why Barron came off and Diamandi didn't. But you're always going to get that with managers. They're always going to make decisions that you might disagree with. That's just, Gerrard's subs. Remember we used to slag Gerrard's subs constantly because he was very late doing it.
Yeah.
In matches. He preferred not to make them really unless he had to. So there's always going to be that criticism when a manager doesn't do exactly what we would have done. But I think that results-wise, it's been great. Somebody said to me last week, he hasn't improved the fitness. I'm like, well, no, of course he hasn't. When was he supposed to do this? Right? We've been playing every 3 days. So it's train, play, recovery, train, play, recovery. If you set yourself up with unrealistic expectations, well, they're not any fitter. No, they're not. You're right. They're spot on. That's why people go on and wang on about pre-season. And I think that it's that kind of thing, and I get like anger after certain performances, but I don't think there is no doubt results have picked up. I don't think there's any doubt that there's a better shape to Rangers defensively. While we still concede goals, it seems to be more defensive mistakes. Let's not forget that a couple of months ago under Russell Martin, teams were having 20 shots on goal against us every game. Every game. That isn't happening now. So that's straight away an improvement. Attacking-wise, haven't been great improvements, but there is such a major dearth of talent up there that's the reason for that. We're starting to see, I think, a little bit from Miovski, which is great because that was not the guy that we witnessed at Aberdeen at all in those opening 3 months.
Yeah.
So he's maybe beginning to show up. Moore, I think, has improved dramatically since Danny Rule came in, so you can't say he hasn't improved that. But we have problems. The other thing I suppose I like about Danny Rule is that he's never once bullshit us, I think. He has said we have problems. The performance wasn't the best, but, we need to get the results. He's a very practical, pragmatic guy. And he's just came in and he's like, right, what do I need to do to get a win or to give us the best chance of getting a win here in this game? And he's done that in each of the matches. The squad is poor. I mean, it is. Yeah. It's not a great squad. We need reinforcements all over the pitch. We certainly need more attacking talent. But to be getting the results he's getting, Hibs at home, it's never easy. You know, it's a game that we can drop points. Weirdly, if we're playing them at Easter Road, we never seem to lose there. I don't think we've lost since 2006 there. But they give us a game at Ibrox and always have. Kilmarnock away has been a very difficult fixture for us. It's not particularly pleasant to watch at the moment. Your heart is in your mouth a lot of the game. But we're finding ways to win. And if he can keep that going till we get some players in and confidence levels build up, then brilliant. So I think he's done absolutely fine. I think that for some in our support, the ones that are hypercritical, I think it's a combination of things. Social media is always going to bring out the worst in people. And you do get people online who think that by being the angriest, it shows how staunch they are. Right, it's quite often guys that don't go to games. I've noticed that, and I think it's almost to try and make up for it that they go, but look how angry I am. That's how much I care. And I think also that there were some people who just didn't fancy him and are sitting waiting to be proved right about it. But for me, I think all you can say is, yeah, so far so good. That doesn't mean that we're out the woods. We're not. It doesn't mean that we're not still in recovery. We are, and it doesn't mean that come, Sunday, we're not going into a very difficult game with a team that under normal circumstances we wouldn't want anyone near Rangers. So all of these things are still true, but all he can do is keep winning. And if he's doing that, then, we're happy and we can build on that throughout the season.
I think I sent you a message a long time ago, and I'm sure I sent you this. And this was, it might have been either before Russell Martin or during the turmoil that was Russell Martin. And I says to you about a manager who I would love to see at Rangers. I can't remember what your answer was. I can remember what the answer was from most people online when I mentioned the name Stevie Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he'd have been a cracking manager to come into Rangers. Mm-hmm. Just quickly, David, because why not? Right? Mm-hmm. Why not? What a job that guy's done in Scottish football, by the way.
Said it before. What I find odd about that you have some supporters who just do not want to take people in general from Scottish football, right? You do have that. But a lot of the people that will sit and argue with me about Derek McInnes, mm-hmm. and we should get McInnes, brilliant manager, we've got to go and get McInnes. When I mention Stephen Robinson, they'll then go, no chance. And that I don't understand, because he, I think, is a younger version of Derek McInnes. Who I do think is a good manager, incidentally, just before anyone gets confused. What I mean is I don't quite understand why you would be arguing strongly for one and totally dead set against the other. I think there's a perception of the football that he plays that it's, not great, which I don't think is true. Just talking to St Mirren fans, they're the ones that know, and they're like, no, it's good to watch. Sometimes we're not, because we're average, but generally speaking, they get the ball down and they play. He just makes sure that we're good at set pieces, we don't get bullied, that we're physical against better teams. I think it goes back to his Motherwell team, which was full of, they were dirty bastards, basically. Yeah. But I do think he has evolved since then.
He also done really well with that Motherwell team, to be fair.
Yeah, he did. That's the thing. I just think he's got. Yeah, I agree. I think where I've always found it really surprising is that the likes of Hibs and Hearts and Aberdeen have never shown any interest in him. I've never really understood that. And you've had guys going in there like Lee Johnson and Nick Montgomery, and who was that one Hearts had?
Who was the one that Hibs had?
Neil Critchley, or Fenland years ago. Neil Critchley, and I see those guys going in there, and I'm like, there's a guy over here who I think could do a better job for you. So I fair play him. The thing about that cup final was it was not a backs to the wall, hold out and pinch a goal and try and defend. They were the better side. So he's now got that trophy on the CV. And as I say, I just think that I don't understand why, to me, him and McInnes are sort of, on a par. I would say so. If you want one, you should want both. I wouldn't have been against it. Look, there is absolutely no doubt that in the summer, if Rangers had appointed Danny Rule, Derek McInnes, or Stephen Robinson, that Rangers would be far better off than we are right now.
100%.
That's a fact. Any of those three, Rangers would be far better off. There's probably no doubt, by the way, that if Celtic had appointed any of those three, they'd be sitting with the League Cup right now. So,
yes.
This is actually an interesting thing. I just want to bring this up, see what the viewers think about it. That I've been kind of, thinking about this because both Rangers and Celtic now have done this, right? And why they have done it is absolutely mental. It's like they watched us and went, "Yeah, that looks fun. That's the way to go." What they did, right? And both of us, and I just mentioned their Hearts and Hibs who've done this already when they've been taken in by these, coaching philosophers like Lee Johnson, Neil Critchley, all their underlying stats, all that shite, right? And Scottish football is always late to the party, and when it comes to football fashions, we're always about 2 years out of date. And these are all guys from 2 years ago when it was really super trendy in England. When it really was all about their philosophy and they play the right way and, they pass the ball forever in a day. These guys all come from that school. And Scottish football, it's like buying what was fashionable last year, a year late, and wondering why nobody's gone, nice jacket. Do you know what I mean? That's what we do. And I do wonder about some of these modern coaching courses because it seems to be unleashing an utter generation of coaching wet wipes. It's the live, love, laugh generation of coaches. These guys are coming.
Do you not think that's come into podcasting as well, though, David? Do you not think there's a lot of podcasters, or maybe not so much podcasters? Maybe that's a little bit unfair. There's a lot of people on socials who give out these coaching courses and delve into games, and they say, right, well, this is why this manager's played that way, and he's played this pass to the left and this pass to the right. Surely football's not that complicated.
No, I mean, I think it is at the top level. And I think that there's plenty of analysis that can be done that's interesting. But you can lose the fundamentals, And along the way, I think that we are, or football is, or has done, there'll be a correction. There's always a correction of kind of thumbing its nose at the McInnes, Robinson, in England, a Sean Dyche or a David Moyes, and saying that these guys who've got good football fundamentals, that's old hat. We want in these guys that talk about football in a certain way, that set their team up in a certain way, and that trumps everything else. And I think football has moved through that, and I'm glad of it. I'm a bit of a dinosaur, but I don't in any way disagree that things like data help with scouting and tactical breakdowns and stuff. These are all important. I just think that football lost its way for a couple of years, where it forgot the basic. We were all saucing nae steak football for a couple of years, and I'm glad to see a guy like Robinson, plus he's a bear. I'm glad to see guys like that, Moyes down south and whatnot, showing that, no, hold on a minute, having a good grasp of what's important in football is still a desirable quality. And I think Danny Rule's like that, to bring it back to Rangers. I think he is a real pragmatist. Look at some of the clubs he's been at. He could have come in with a Germany national team and Bayern Munich. He could have come in with we only play one way and we get the ball down and it's all. And he doesn't. He looks at his squad and goes, right, we've got this game. I'm short of my 2 first choice centre halves, so I'm going to put Dujon Sterling in there because these two I don't really trust these two, so I'll put an extra defender in. Now, he's not going to do that. Obviously, if Suter and Cornelius were back, we'd probably go back to a 4. I like that in a manager, a guy who looks at what he's got, the best way to try to win a game. That works for me. And I'm glad that football is beginning to get back to that.
I mean, me and you could sit here and have a conversation about the fundamentals of football for about 4 or 5 hours, I would imagine. But there's one person I blame for the downfall of football, and the
Pep.
downfall of football tactics. No. Craig Levine.
Why Craig Levine?
When he was at Scotland and he tried this 4-6-0
nonsense. 4-6-0, yeah.
Craig Levine started it all, by the way. We forget this.
That was dispiriting.
But then Spain do it. Spain play a 4-6-0.
Spain have got slightly better players than.
Yeah, but Craig Levine put the idea in their head, I'm sure.
You think, and they took it for that. No, I look, football's always about things that systems, and then a system's successful, and then somebody has to come up with a system to beat that one, and everybody copies it, and then somebody comes up with one to beat that, and everybody copies it. I just think we got a bit lost, and tiki-taka, endless possession for the sake of possession, that's been done for years, and yet here's the two biggest clubs in Scotland have both attempted it this season. Both, it's bizarre to me. But like I say, I think Scottish football always looks at England, wide-eyed, and it must be good. It comes from down there, and it's like, guys, no, right? We're a separate game. We're a different league. We don't have the finances. That's not to say there's no things you can see there and go, we could maybe learn from that. But trying to just replicate it, to copy and paste from there doesn't work. But it especially doesn't work when the thing you're trying to copy and paste, I mean, literally just as that bubble burst, we appointed Russell Martin. Just as everyone in England is going, this is bullshit, and long throws come back, and big rampage and centre forwards, and big goalies that come and collect the ball that are shot stoppers first rather than brilliant passers. And just as England is realising that it's all bullshit, we tried it, but thankfully we seem to have gone past it. But Celtic have picked up the baton, so that's good.
Yeah, it's not all about winning, is it?
No, it's all about performance, apparently.
It's all about performance, which is literally just Russell Martin 2.0.
Well, I mean, it's the same quote, isn't it? It's not about performance. Performance is important, clearly, but result trumps everything.
If you play shit in 38 games and you win them 1-0, it doesn't matter that you played shit in 38 games.
If we're celebrating a title at the end of it, no fucks are given.
No, and it goes back to the old Walter days where we didn't always play the most sparkling football, but we won trophies. And the young generation don't really know about that, right? To be fair.
Yeah, but Rangers have been the worst of both worlds for a while then, because we've been shite to watch and not winning. So that really is, the absolute worst of both worlds.
I've heard a few rumours kicking about, David.
Go on.
That possibly Rangers could be interested in making Max Aaron's stay permanent.
Yeah, I read that. That seems a non-starter to me. Do you know how much he's on at his parent club? It's a shitload more than we'll be paying anybody.
70, something like that.
Yeah. So unless he's prepared to drop his wage demands hugely, this is over and above if Rangers do even want to keep him. I think this came from an ex-journalist patron in England. I think it was Alan Nixon guy. So I don't really store a lot, and it looked like an agent plant to me. That story, because they'll be trying to get interest drummed up in Max Aarons, but
regardless of the fee or regardless of the wages, David, is he a player that you would be interested in taking full time?
No, not in current form. It might improve, over the next 6 months, but at the moment, no. But like I say, wage wise, I'd be very surprised. But the thing that made me think it was an agent story was that it said in the story, Rangers and Bournemouth are happy with the amount of minutes he's played. No, they're not. So, he's hardly played so far this season. He's played more recently, but he's barely kicked a ball a season. So that's when I thought this is his agent trying to drum up interest, and try to shape perception. If you put it there, everybody's delighted with this loan, it's going great, and hope that they don't actually look into it in any great detail. But But as I say, he would, even if he dropped his wage significantly, he would be one of Rangers' top earners. Do Rangers want to do that for a player who has played? No, I really don't see that one happening.
It's selling the jerseys in Europe as well. It's not.
Oh, I mean, look. There was 2 months he couldn't play because he wasn't trusted.
Mm-hmm.
Rangers, I would be very surprised if they're going to invest millions of pounds in a long-term contract on someone like that. So we'll see. You never know. It could be, but I thought that was an agent there flying a kite.
It's got to be because I can't imagine Rangers making that mistake. Because I mean, if you're even looking behind the scenes, well, the guy we brought in the day, I'll get to in a minute. But it seems to me that Kavanagh now, and I don't know, maybe if you've got a little bit more insight in this or not, but it seems to me that Kavanagh now's over a lot more often. He's at more games, and he seems to be taking far more interest in the day-to-day running of the football club. So I would be amazed, David, if we go into January and make the same mistakes that we made at pre-season.
Yeah, I mean, he's learned clearly, and unfortunately, he's learned for negative reasons. It's more a case of what not to do that he's learned, and you would hope that would have been the case. I think that it's all right us saying about, because we were all determined. I didn't know a single Rangers fan that didn't want Stewart and Farewell sacked. But it's still a big thing for a football club to sack their chief exec and director of football on the same day after that short a spell. So action was taken, to try and move things along. And it is big to do that. It's rare. But I think that with Kavanagh, there is this sense of it wasn't the amount of money, it was how it was used. So therefore, it's not all we are going to do if we continue to go the same way is waste money. And that's true. And what businessman worth their salt wants to just keep chucking money at something that's not going to work? And also the sense that if you do it a bit better, then it'll be successful. And I think that there is that sense there, but there were huge mistakes, and it'll take us a while to recover from them, no doubt about that. If he hadn't learned from it, we were in problems. Now, the reason I say that there's a difference between learning what not to do is that he now needs to, but he's kind of showing that he knows what not to do now. Now he needs to show he knows what to do, which is a different thing, and it's not automatic. Just because you won't make the same mistakes doesn't mean that you can't make different mistakes. So we need to see them start to get things right.
But interesting. I mean, I'd love to be a fly in the wall with the conversations between Kavanagh and the 49ers. Or I suppose it would be Kavanagh and Marath. I suppose. The conversations that they've had since the failed Russell Martin experiment, the way the players have been performing on the park, the new manager, Danny Rule, it would be really nice to get an insight into how they're actually thinking. Because a lot of the times, especially with Americans, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way or anything, but Americans have always got a pre-planned speech of what they're going to say. Always. I mean, Kavanagh's done, a couple of good interviews, don't get me wrong, but you can tell it's been well rehearsed, and he's got, we're 3 things we're going to do here, and we're 2 things we're going to do there, and blah, blah, blah. So it would be interesting. I don't know if yourself, obviously with Heart in Hand, or any of the other fan media guys have got anything scheduled in to speak to Kavanagh or Marath or any of the higher-ups.
I think that we are in reasonable amounts of communication regularly, I'll put it that way, with the club over stuff like this. But at the end of the day, they need to make the decisions. They're the ones who get the criticism. They're the ones who stand or fall by what they get right and what they get wrong. You're absolutely right that he's a very polished performer when he gets in front of a camera, and he isn't going to give you one word that he doesn't want to give you. Nothing will slip out, right? So that's just not going to happen. That's a guy that's presented to the stock exchange in the US, right? Where one wrong word can wipe millions off your share price. So he knows, so you're right there. The truth is we'll probably never find out, a lot of the stuff that went on in the background. But I'm more into actions than words anyway. And I judge by his actions. His actions have shown the last few months that he knew that Rangers had made terrible errors. And the next step now is, he's starting to try and correct that with, the manager gone, the CEO's gone, the director of football is gone. We're reading today they're planning to overhaul the recruitment, possibly bringing in Jig, possibly bringing in Lee McCulloch. And we know, they brought in Bjornaby on an interim basis. So that's different from what we've seen before. I think he just trusted the wrong people too much initially. Yeah. Maybe thinking that, well, I'm new to this, so I'll go with what the football people are saying. And I think now he's been there long enough to go, right, I tried that, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it differently.
How involved do you think Bjornaby is going to be in terms of transfers and recruitment over the January period? Because, like you say, he's just started. We're halfway through December. You would like to think we've already got
100%. Aye, but he'll be involved. Yeah, I think that that's a given. That he's going to be involved in that sort of thing. And I think the manager's going to be involved as well. And they're going to go out and decide, who they want and who they can get. That's the other thing. It's all right saying what you want. It doesn't mean that you're not going to, or that you're definitely going to be able to land that person or whatever. But he'll be involved. I mean, he'll be involved across a lot of the football operations. That's what he's been brought in to do.
Yeah, that's true. In terms of outs, which is going to be a big thing over the next few weeks, it's looking very, very likely, David, that Joe Rothwell is going to leave the football club. Best for both parties.
Yeah, it just didn't work at all. I don't know if he had picked up an injury late in the season at Leeds, but the guy that I saw playing for Leeds last year was not the same guy that I saw playing for Rangers this year. His fitness was questionable, to say the least. He couldn't last more than 60 minutes in a match. He just, was no fit whatsoever. Rothwell has clearly, Rowe has clearly come in, looked at him and went, nope, no danger. And in a way, I suppose it's at least I'll give him the credit of he wants to go somewhere and play and just say, right, okay, that was a mistake, rather than just sitting, never playing or being on the bench and picking up a wage. We've had plenty of those guys over the years. Mm-hmm. So it's good that he's like, no, I want to go back to the Championship. But he just didn't have the physical capability, really, to succeed for us. I think that, he showed nice touches at times, nice moments, but he was just too easily dominated out of a game. And just a mistake on everyone's part, probably caused by the mistake of having in the manager that we had in at the time. But I'll give him his due. He wants to go and he wants to play football. I think as a fan, I think that they're the footballers that we've got least respect for, the guys, professional footballers who don't actually seem that bothered about playing football.
We're going to get so much of this. Stig is in the driving seat for transfers. It's
I like that. I'm a pun fan.
I did put in my post-match reaction. Danny and his players keep on rolling.
See what you did there.
See what I done there. And also, David, what is the shadow behind your right shoulder? The chat needs to know.
Oh, it's a Christmas decoration.
Oh.
So
don't break it, please.
See. It's a Christmas decoration. It's like a thing my wife bought.
Well, there was people speculating it might have been a ghost, or
it could be a ghost. It's a very old house. This house was built in the 1830s, so who knows?
When you were but a young child, David, that house was built.
No, this was the first house. See, I know my local town. I know my town's history. This was the first house. This house was built by the first doctor who came to Kilwinning and set up a practice back in the 19th century. Actually, it has outbuildings and stables, and it's got there is a functioning outdoor toilet out there. We do have indoor toilets, not to further any Ayrshire stereotypes, but there is an actual working outdoor toilet there. Is
that for people who come to visit at Christmas who aren't Rangers supporters?
Nobody gets to visit, full stop. I do not accept visitors. And to put that in, a friend of mine phoned this a wee while ago now, and he phoned. He said, "I'm going to come down and see you." I'm like, "No, I don't. It's not convenient." And he's like, "Well, I'm showing up, so you'll need to let me in when I get there." And I turned the doorbell off and closed the curtain, didn't let him in. I think dropping in on someone is the rudest thing you can do. I think it's how fucking dare somebody do that.
I have that argument with my missus all the time. Like, my boy now is went and get his own house, lives with his missus, and she'll go, "Right, we'll go over and visit." And I'll go, "Yeah, but you're going to phone him first."
Mm-hmm.
No, we'll just go over and visit.
Don't hate that.
You know what's worse than that? She just opens the door and walks in.
Oh, well, she's asking for trouble there.
Yes.
I would have thought, yes. No, that's, you never know what's going on. But no, I hate anybody thinking, I'll tell you, my parents can do it, right? My parents can do it. Anybody else that just drops in, you're not getting in. It's like,
want me to tell you how unsociable you are? We were speaking about 2.5 years ago about meeting up for a coffee, and we've still not done it. That's how unsociable you are.
See, the last 6 weeks I've been over the door 4 times, and I will quite happily just put about in here till I die. So I go at the house for Rangers games. Although I'm going away overnight. Actually, on Saturday I'm going to see Big Country in Edinburgh. So. I'm going to do that. Well, they're playing Glasgow, but it's on the 31st of December. Right. And I could go to that, but I couldn't get home because I don't drive. Trains will all be off. And I maybe could get a taxi or an Uber. Maybe, no guarantee. But if I did, can you imagine how much it's going to be? And I can't
give me £100, David, and I'll come.
And I can't stay over because obviously I need to see my family at the Bell. So it was one of the other podders, Davey Marshall. He said that it was like same reason. He said I can't go, so I was thinking of going to Edinburgh. And I said, we'll do that then. And then ironically, I need to then head back to Edinburgh really quickly to see the Rangers game because I don't have a ticket, and Rangers are at Tynecastle on the Sunday. So typical.
Well, I've just been sent this. You know how in WhatsApp people send you screenshots of tweets, right? I've just been sent this one, David. This is long overdue. We have a guy responsible for millions of pounds of spend and one of the major transfer success story clubs in the last decade. And we only use him as a club ambassador. Jack has every piece of data out there, knows every agent and market, and crucially, he knows the pressures of playing for us, which characteristics succeed and which fail. There has never been a no-brainer. Do you know who wrote that, Dave?
I did, and it's about Lee McCulloch. I have never understood this. For those of you who don't know, because he doesn't seek a big profile on it, Jig, who's a Rangers club ambassador, Jig is a very important member of the scouting team at Brighton, who I think we would all agree have been pretty fucking fantastic at recruitment for the past few years, working initially under Davy Weir, but then working, under Tony Bloom, the Jamestown analytics, all that, the data that we hear about. People seem to have in their head about Jig because of the type of player he was, right? He's an old school football man, and he kind of is, right, in a way. But he knows every agent on the go. He knows emerging markets. That's what he started out in at Brighton, in emerging markets. He's been responsible for hundreds of millions of pounds worth of transfers in and out of Brighton, and we have got him as an ambassador. And I'm looking at this going, I don't get it. We're shite at recruitment. Really terrible at it. And literally in the building, most match days, is a guy who bleeds blue and is very, very good at scouting and has years of experience in it. Would you no ask the question at least? I don't get it. I don't get it. And I don't, people have said to me, oh, why have you not mentioned it before? And I was like, because I don't want to bang and put forward somebody for a job that I don't even know if they want to take or whatever. But I've never understood it. And it's, to me, had he been at a club with... Jig is more qualified to do that job than Kevin Thelwell was. Mm-hmm. He's got better experience, a better track record. And that's before you even get into the fact, on top of being able to go, and he doesn't just scout England, by the way, unlike Kevin Thelwell, right? Look at some of the places that Brighton bring players in for. It's all over the world. He knows what it's like to play for Rangers. He knows what the pressure is like. So when he's sitting talking to these guys, he's got the extra added quality of saying, right, I've looked at this boy, statistically he's brilliant, and I like his playing style, and this, because Jig doesn't just go and watch a player and then go, I will sign him, right? Nobody can at Brighton. At Brighton, you need to do like 20-page reports.
Yeah, it's got to be right.
No, but like Bloom is, as we've heard about it at Hearts, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
He would be able, though, to sit down and talk with a guy and go, no, right? He's going to wilt here. He's going to fade in the spotlight. But maybe I'm missing something. But I don't get it.
Let me explain what you're missing. Right? Kevin Thelwell and Dan Purdy done an exhaustive process.
Yeah.
And they discovered that clearly the best man for that job was Robbie Thelwell. So I think you need to get off your high horse a wee bit, David, and give our current chief scout a little bit of time.
Who would you say has done better in recruitment? And Jig isn't the only person at Brighton, right? And he wouldn't claim all the credit for it, but he's been involved in an awful lot of it. Who would you say has been more successful at transfers the past 5 years? Brighton or Norwich? Or Wolves?
Yeah, Brighton have probably been the most successful team in England for transfers
for a while. And like I say, you're not bringing in a guy because I don't sit and go hire him because he's an ex-player, right? Or a player that I really liked watching for Rangers, so give him a job. I don't do that, right? If Jig was not qualified, I wouldn't be saying it, but he bloody well is. And hey, who knows, they might speak to him and he might say, no, fair enough. But I'm delighted to read that they're going to speak to him because I just think it's the first place I'd start anyway.
It's not about... again, I might be jumping the gun here. Depending on what they're going to say to him and what they're going to offer him. For me, with Lee McCulloch, I might be wrong, but it's not about money.
It'll be about the job. It'll be about the...
I don't think there's a single job at Rangers he would knock back.
No, I think it's about exactly. It's about career. If Rangers want to bring in Lee McCulloch as a scout, he's not going to do that.
No, but of course,
responsibility in his current role. If Rangers want to bring him in as head of recruitment, that's a different thing. And long term, I've argued for this on this show. Abroad, particularly Germany, Spain, and Italy, what they do for their sporting director, technical director, director of football, whatever you want to call it, it's usually an ex-player. Sometimes from that club, but not always. And the reason that they do this is because their view is we can teach a football person business. We can't teach a business person what it's like to have been in a dressing room, what it's like to have an injury, what it's like to be part of that culture, what it's like to be in front of 50,000 fans or a title running. I tend to agree with that. So I think that British football doesn't do this, and it should, is identify
Brighton did with Davy Weir, though, didn't they, for a while?
Brighton did with Davy Weir, and there are other examples that are beginning to creep in. And I'm not saying, incidentally, that you should have to be an ex-player to do the job. I'm just saying that it might not be a bad idea. Edu at Arsenal, yes, a great point. it might be worth, checking, because not every player wants to go into coaching once they're done.
No. If that's the case, though, David, if we are speaking to Jig about a possible job, would that, and again, I'm not saying that you know that this would happen, but in your estimation, would that be then Robbie Thelwell gone?
I don't know if it'd be Thelwell gone or Purdy gone or demoted, or put into a different. What I would say is, I said this when Kevin Thelwell got punted. If I had been one of his hires, I would be certainly aware the stink that's on me from being that, and I'd be maybe updating my CV. Anybody who was involved, and to be fair, Robbie Thelwell wasn't, but anyone who was involved in Rangers summer recruitment doesn't really have a massive case to say you should let me stay here, do they?
No, absolutely not. Yeah, just finally then, before we go, we kind of leave really without having a wee quick preview of the weekend. Probably the hardest game right now, I would say.
Definitely.
Is going to be a challenge. Are you confident for Sunday?
Don't know if that's the right word. I'm realistic about it. Can we win? Yes, but we will need to be switched on defensively. To be fair to Rangers the other night against a decent Hibs side with good attackers, although again I think Hearts are better, we didn't give away too many easy opportunities. I think that was the important thing. And again, it's about creating and taking chances. I think Moore will be vital for us at the weekend. Miovski being back would be very, very helpful indeed. Because I think if Hearts do have an issue, it's that if you can drop the ball over the top to let a forward go into, I think you can get joy there. For me, it really is, how do we defend? That's the key area for me.
Is this the worst time to lose Giga, do you think? Just starting to possibly come on a wee bit of a game?
I think just because of the amount of injuries we've got in there. I mean, let's be honest, the Rangers' defence is going to be makeshift because Suter, Cornelius or Giga, possibly all three, would have played had they been fit. So it's clearly going to be makeshift. I was delighted to see Dujon Sterling back and playing so well. He could be massive for us in this game. But I think the key spell in this game will be the opening 20. They are going to be, Tynecastle will be up for it. It's going to be bouncing. It's going to be, I mean, you get that when you've got to play Hearts and they're not doing well anyway. And anybody who's, I'm sure most people watching this is like, I've been at Tynecastle, you're right on the player. It is one of the atmospheric grounds. It's coming through that first 20 minutes and handling it. And then making sure that you then take command of the game. What I want to see for Rangers is that full-blooded commitment, and I like the fact the other night that wasn't a great performance, but dare I say it, the Rangers showed a wee bit of character and they did fight for each other and they were there making blocks and chucking themselves in front of stuff we hadn't seen enough of from them. But again, it's like we need to cut out the moments of doziness. That's it, just in general, where people have a brain fade and suddenly we've given away a chance. That's what's killed us in Europe this year. Just playing well, stupid thing, goal. But while I think Hearts are a good side, I mean, the idea that we can't go and win there, no, not at all. But we'll need to be better than we were on at the weekend.
100%. Right, I can't let you go, David, without asking you about the up-and-coming live show that you've got coming in January with a very good friend of mine, David. We've got myself, CJ Novo, YouTube. I don't know what you call it. YouTuber, is that?
YouTuber,
YouTube person.
YouTuber.
CJ Novo, Stevie Clifford from Four Lads, and Mark Haley. And we are doing a live show on January the 9th. And if you would like to come along, and you should, it will be a very fun evening. And it's first week back after Christmas holidays, so it'll give you something to look forward to on the Friday night. Tickets are on sale, Edmiston House website. You just go there and under What's On, we'll be in there. Ticket sales are going really well, which is huge. shock to the three of us, really. To be honest, the reason we decided to do it was that Rangers had been on at us to do something, and we'd ran out of excuses not to, because we just thought, well, I don't know if anybody's going to show up for this, and we didn't want to kind of, embarrass ourselves. But hey, come see a show. 6 weeks later, pulled 4 tickets sold. So there was that. But
I think I'm actually surprised that you didn't invite the biggest to join the show with you. But it's all right.
Well, I mean, the reason for that is fairly simple. I don't think that we can have you and Stevie on the same stage, can we? Without a fight breaking it. So
there wouldn't be a fight. No.
See, this is the thing with me, right? I mean, I get on with everybody.
Yes,
so
you do.
that's you don't.
I get on with a lot of people. There's just certain people I don't get on with.
I'm really easygoing and laid back, but we're very much looking forward to it, and it's a great lazy ticket, a Christmas present to buy folk tickets. But you don't need it. You just need to buy it, and that's it. And the email gets sent to them, and boom, you bought them a present, and you give them the tickets on Christmas Day. And it's also, on that note, people could get themselves a subscription. They could subscribe to the Rabbles page, become a member on behalf of someone for Christmas. That's such an easy gift, Martin, is it not?
It is a very easy gift.
There you go. So those of you who, like me, don't like leaving the house, don't like going outside, hate shops. I hate shops at the best of times, but this time of year, I fucking despise them. Then go onto Rabble's YouTube page, sign someone up, and on Christmas Day, you just hand them and say, there you go. And you're giving them hours of listening pleasure every single week.
Yes. And you could also, I mean, we're making this a bit sappy now, but you could also do the same for Heart and Hand on Patreon and YouTube now as well.
I think you can actually on Patreon. I'm pretty sure they sent me a link, Patreon, and said you can send us it. I think
we obviously only do that for the big creators on Patreon.
Well, I think I've lost it. And I'll need to go and try and find it again. But yeah, I just think it's a great lazy person present.
It's a fantastic lazy person present.
Especially
if you want to buy 100 memberships for the Rabble, then that is an even better present. But yeah,
do you know, wedding,
yes,
that's a better wedding favour than tablet, because you give them tablet, they eat it, it's lovely, but then it's gone. You sign them up, 100 different subscriptions all around the thing.
I tell you what, Arlene's saying, Martin, you need to get a live show going. Right, I've always been a bit hesitant to do a live show because, a bit like you, you've said in the past, you're a bit worried that maybe not enough people turn up. Right?
Not always.
So
always.
If David Edgar for Heart and Hand's worried about not enough people turning up, how do you think Martin for the Rabble feels about that? So I will make a suggestion. If at some point, July, August, September, October, November, if David agrees to do a live show with me, I'll do a live show. Put you right on the spot, David.
Yeah, no, wire in. It's so long as I can come in by Zoom. I'm always kind of quite.
We'll agree to that. That's an agreement. Right.
Somebody hold up an iPad, and I'm more than happily do it. But
I'm not a big fan of standing next to you either.
The other thing that I think people go, oh, the live shows must be brilliant, and it's so much pressure because people have paid money to come and see you, and the idea of them leaving and going, I wasted my time and money is like heartbreaking to me, to the point where I would rather not do it at times. Yeah. But the reason we do Edmiston House is it does raise money for the club because they get their share of the ticket, which, trust me, is a big fuck off share of the ticket, and they make the bar money as well. So there is that element to it as well. So you can go get pished for Rangers. That should be the selling point.
Well, actually, at your last live show, I got a free bottle of Corona.
Did you?
Yes, you handed me it. So
you didn't get it free. I didn't get it free. I had to pay for that.
Yes, well,
you charged me from backstage.
You paid for my ticket, David. There we go.
Just so the listeners know that, right? They say, do you want stuff put backstage? And so they put beers in and everything, and guests that come in, like Martin, get a beer and everything like that. And then you get the bill and it's all itemised, and they're like 12 Corona. And they charge Edmiston House prices. It's not like supermarket prices. I'm fucking hell. So I'd ordered the first show we did there. I was like, yeah, put in 36. The second show I did is I put in 12.
Yeah.
And
I only got one of them, which is.
I don't get any of them.
Yes. To be fair, I'd had like 5 pints before that, and I was very aware that I was standing next to a lot of people who had just done a show and were sober. So I didn't really want to make an arse of myself while I was standing next to people. Yeah,
you didn't. You didn't.
I was pissed. But listen, folks, that will do us there. David, as always, thank you very much.
Cool.
That's the response you get off David. Go and enjoy the rest of your night, folks. Remember and check out Heart and Hand on Patreon. Check out the Rangers Rabble on YouTube and Patreon as well. And me and David will hopefully be back. I don't know what the schedule's going to be like, David, over Christmas, but we'll sort that out.
We will do something, even if it's a pre-record. But we will do something. Yeah, the week between Christmas, after the Motherwell game, but before the next one, we'll do something. But it might be a pre-record, just with schedules and stuff.
Well, there you go, folks. You've heard it from the boss's mouth. Thank you very much, everybody, and we shall speak very, very